Hello, my name is Gabriel. I'm from Brazil. I'm a Global Change Maker 2019. And the reason for this webinar is to talk a little bit about fundraising strategies and give some tips of how to create a financially sustainable NGO. In my opinion, a lot of NGOs just focus on their causes, on their impact, but they do not worry enough about how to be financially sustainable. A lot of times they don't think about it just because they don't have the background or the know-how how to do it. And in other cases, people just think that it's not really important. But from my experience, the money is directed, correlated with the impact that you can make. So the reason here is just to give you some examples. I know that it changed a lot according to the geographies. I'm here in Brazil, so the fundraising scenario, the NGOs, the government, it's very different from a person in the Europe, in the US, or in Africa. So it really depends. So my goal here is give a broad examples and broad tips so each of you can figure it out by your own, the best strategy to raise money, and not only to raise money by donations, but to really create a source of revenue, a source of recurring revenue. I think that what is important. To initiate, I'll give you the example of my NGO and how we did it. So I will share my screen with my institutional presentation, as you can see here. So Free Helper, which is the NGO I founded, is really a platform to connect professional volunteers and NGOs all over Brazil and maybe the world. So the goal is to people to donate their knowledge and their time to create positive impact in NGOs doing a short-term remote job. So if you are from a law or marketing or finance or social sciences or biology, any area, you can give it part of your knowledge to help an NGO in this particular field for a short-term work, which usually is from 1 day up to a month. It really depends on the characteristics of the job, but usually is, for example, in finance, doing a cash flow projection, doing a business plan, in marketing, doing a social media posts or marketing strategy, in law is review a contract, a lawsuit. So it's provided the labor that the NGO doesn't have the resource to hire, okay? So here, just a very broad institutional presentation. We talk about the scenario in Brazil, so how we think we can impact the country, how many people are actually doing volunteer work, how many people could do volunteer work, why they don't do it, and how we try to fight with these reasons. So we talk about who we are. We're a platform, non-profit. We try to create social positive impact, accelerating the impact and the presence of the NGOs throughout Brazil. What we're looking for, so we're looking to accelerate, increase NGOs, generate personal and professional development. So here, it's not really the focus of the webinar, but I think it's important you have a little understanding about what we do, because it will make you understand how we did the fundraise. Okay, so this is just about our team. So we're 6 people. Where we are, we have over today is close to 3,000 volunteers in 16 Brazilian states and some countries. If you are watching, go sign up on our website. It's www.freehelper.com.br. Our volunteers, so this is important, is where in which area our volunteers work. So above 130 operates in finance, one-third in marketing and law. So these is our main fields, which are actually the fields that NGOs really need more help. Some achievements, how many volunteers, how many NGOs, how many volunteer jobs we have engaged, how many social media interactions. So here we start to talk a little about fundraising, about data that we can provide for the potential investors, for the potential donors to see how they can achieve. I think it's important. I know that we are working on a social cause and should be easy to sell, should be like, we shouldn't have to think about the potential donator, the investor, because we are actually doing something for the others, not for ourselves. So we shouldn't have to convince them like that's worth putting their money, and try to find a way where the investor can benefit from putting the money here. I know that it seems weird, you have to do it, but it's actually how it goes. If you don't do it, it will be very hard to attract money into your NGO. So here's trying to, for one hand, in one hand, we are trying to sell, just to say how we have impacted already, but on the other hand, we are trying to tell for the potential investor, look where you could have been. So you could have reached 90,000 social media interactions. You could have impacted 150,000 people. Your logo could be here, could be an action and work with an employee, or could be your face doing this job, could be your brand in the work, could be your brand on the emails. So trying to just like plant a seed on the mind of the potential investor of how he or she could benefit from this partnership. So here, just a sample of the partner NGOs. Here we have our partners, companies, institutions. So most of these companies put money on Free Helper monthly. So we don't operate with non-recurring revenue. We don't operate with donation, and we don't operate with person donating. We only operate with companies with a recurring revenue. So we have a contract with each of these companies saying how much and for how long they will put money on Free Helper. Actually, the only investor we don't have a contract with a recurring revenue is Global Changemaker, which is a very great investor, opens a lot of doors. And of course, because of the geographic issues and all the institution characteristics, it's not possible to make this contract. But with the other companies, we try to do it and try to enforce this contract to have a recurring revenue, which allow us to thinking long term. So we know what we can do like 6 months from now, because we know how much money we will have, at least roughly. On the other hand, we have other partners which do not put money, but we exchange services. So for example, we need a marketing agents to take care of our social medias. We need an accounting firm to take care of our accounting. But it doesn't really, we will have to hire this firm. So in this case, we do partnership with this firm, so they can provide these services instead of giving us money. So it really doesn't make a lot of difference, because even if they put money, we would have to hire someone like them to do the job. So it's a very great exchange of services and benefits. So we have it with a co-working, we have it with the marketing agents, with a accounting firm, we have a partnerships with universities, and so on and so forth. So here's some awards, of course, being one of the selects of Global Changemakers. Some media we have been through. Here, just about the cases, so I think it's important to understand what we do. Of course, after here, I'll give you more examples, not only Free Helper, because it's a very specific case. It's not the usually NGO that operates in one cause that has like more personal touch with people. Here we do everything remotely. People from all over the country, mostly by the computer, do not have face-to-face interactions, which is actually harder to raise money because you don't have those nice pictures of you helping people. You don't have the feeling well of the volunteers, which will see the person they are helping. It's all through computer, so it's a little bit different, okay? But so for example, we connected two communication volunteers to elaborate a marketing campaign. We made a connection of a volunteer to do a financial planning. Here we have connected volunteers to do a digital communication strategy. Here, financial planning and a budget. And another examples in all different areas. So the first one here is a photographer. The second is also a photographer and has a translator as well. The third is a legal volunteer. And the fourth is also a legal volunteer. So you can see that it's all different kind of services for the volunteers, but it's all different kind of NGOs, both talking about geographically. So these NGOs are all from Brazil, but different areas, but also causes. So if you take a look at the SDG 17 goals, Sustainable Development Goals, you see that we have NGOs in all the 17 goals. So we have NGOs in environment, social causes, legal, and financially, economic, and everything, okay? And here it's what it really matters, partnership. So how do we get money? How do we convince the investor that he should or she should put like 1,000 or 2,000 reais per month into our NGO? So we focus on two benefits. The first one is the obvious one, is the one that I think everyone here that has an NGO is focused on this one, which are the social benefits. That's really what we talk about. So of course, there are the social impacts. If you talk with NGO, you already expected that. So there are all the social benefits: promoting volunteering, stimulation of professional volunteer culture, maximization of NGOs, achievement of the SDGs, opportunity of professional practice, development of social concern, curriculum enhancement, training qualification. So you have all these obvious social benefits that you should you should focus on that. But it's not enough, in my opinion. It should be enough, but it's not, at least in the most cases I've been present. I know that, as I said, it depends on the geographic you're talking. If you're talking to a foundation, it's probably is enough. If you're talking to the government, it may be enough. But in most cases, if you're talking to a private company, it's not enough. And in Brazil, for example, where we don't have a very present government in these issues, we don't have a lot of foundations, we don't have funding for that. So we can go into two directions. First one is ask for the regular people, and the second one is go after the private companies. In Free Helper case, we didn't want to go after the normal people because we said, for the regular people, we want your knowledge and we want your time. We don't want your money. So we don't want to confuse like, okay, I want your money, but I also want your time. We don't want to confuse that. And we also wanted to provide a more recurring revenue. And when we are talking about people, it's harder to have this recurring revenue. It's hard to have a contract or everything. And of course, the amount of money is very small. So you can't ask a person 1,000 reais per month. 1,000 reais would be like $250. It's a lot of money here in Brazil. So what we do, we focus on private companies when we talk about brand benefits. That's what Free Helper focus. I'm not saying that your NGO should focus. Maybe your NGO, if it's focused on a particular cause, it may be easier. So for example, just forget about free helper for a second. Let's say you have an environmental NGO. So you are fighting against you are fighting to defend the environment and against like the private companies that are polluting and doing like bad practices. How could you create a sustainable financially recurring revenue? So like on the top of my mind, you could create, for example, a certificate of green company. You could create a certificate of green company. So you charge a fee, a monthly fee for doing like a analysis of the company to check if they are doing everything right. And with that, you could also give a consulting to the company if they are not doing anything right. So you already have two fees. The first one is the analysis. The second is the consultant. And the third one, you can like charge a fee for the certificate and the marketing that goes with it. So advertise that it's a green company. I know that it seems like, but who would want a certificate of green company for an NGO that no one knows? But I'm assure you that a lot of companies, they wanted to show that they care and they want to help and they wanted to show that to the public. So it's a very simple idea that you can create a recurring revenue and recurring revenue that's actually a lot of money, because it's not a very cheap job to do all of this. So you can have it. Of course, you have to train people and have a good program and invest in the marketing to advertise this certificate and everything. But it's really a good example. Okay, so come back to Free Helper now. What we offer is brand benefits. So first one, we are talking about reports. We provide monthly and weekly and sometimes annually reports. But it's not only reporting, say like what we've done, which is important. We say like which NGOs we helped, which volunteers we helped, how many volunteers and NGOs we connected, in which event we were. But we also tell about the brand. So we say, how many times does your logo have been shown? How many people have seen your logo in this period? How many people have engaged with your company in this period? How many people have engaged with Free Helper and consequently engaged with you? So we do all of these statistics, and more than that, we give the content we provide for the company to use it. So for example, let's say we, in this environmental NGO, let's say for example, some environmental company invests on us, and we do an volunteer work with an environmental NGOs. We provide the content for this private company to advertise the job that we've done, saying that they've done that, because actually they've done part of that. They invest in us, they are paying for the employees, for the marketing, for everything. So we provide this content for them so they can put on their social media, they can advertise for their clients, their customers, and it's really good. Secondly, we do internal accountability reports. So we say everything that, I think this is pretty obvious, but just like make sure that you provide everything about how do you invest the money, what was the impact of it, and everything. So then we do branding, social media reports and events. So we try every time to arrange an event, and we sell the space on the event. So we sell the logo, on the size of the logo in the event. We sell the name of the company in the event. And I know that it seems when you are small and Joe, it seems okay, but the event will have like 20 people. Which company would want that? Like, but they do want. You just need to find the right company that cares about this particular field. So for example, you can say, okay, but let's say you are a youth empower NGO. So you are doing an event for 20 youth, 20 young people that may be good professionals. So you can go for a company that hires a lot of young people and have this difficult. So you are solving a problem for them, because you will advertise for 20 potential employees of the company an opportunity to work there. And of course, these people will look with good eyes to this opportunity because it's a company that's helping. So it goes like that. So I think you just have to figure out who is the public and who is the company, and or who is the person that you want to help, and you need to provide the services. Okay, so 40 is the international reach. So this partnership with global change makers and other organizations is very important for the publicity. So you say that you went to global change makers, you were in Switzerland, talk with a lot of youth with great potential, a lot of NGOs projects. So it really is a good idea. Then network, being part of the network. Most people want to be part of something. So if you provide something for them to be part of, to feel embrace it, they will like it. So here's a good tip. It can be from a lot of different ways. So you can organize like events to networking and to present each other. Maybe partners will hire volunteers of yours. Maybe an NGO will partnership with an investor of yours. So we live in a small world. Everyone can use connections and can use networking, and this is very important. So we don't do it yet, but I saw a lot of NGOs that are doing like fancy dinners and fancy events and sell the tickets for a very high price because you want to be part of that. You want to go to the event, you want to network, of course, you want to be there and you want to show the world that you cares and you are in this event, you are giving money for a foundation, for a third sector NGOs. And I think we usually don't look with good eyes for people that just want to show they're helping. But of course, I don't agree with that. I would rather than to help, but I say, I don't care. Let's use it the way we can. So it doesn't matter if this person really want to help or just want to show that's helping. But if in the way to showing that they're helping, they actually are helping. So that's what matters. Of course, it would be better if it didn't help it a lot, but it's how it is. So I think a good motivation is to try to use this feeling of the people, the feeling of helping and showing others. So if you provide tools and contents and net and contacts of that will show that, the person will feel very good about themselves. And this involves like giving some gifts for them. Okay, you have been a volunteer for over 1 year. Here is a letter with my own writing. Thank you for that. Or a post on social media saying about, oh, how grateful we are for having this partnership. So all of this kind of thank you notes and everything that it's make the investor feels good about giving the money and will make them want to keep donating. So, and last is access to the databases, social networks, emails, digital, print materials, news, and everything that covers what we talked already. Okay, so it's like here just a photo of what we do. So for example, social media, we do this post, meet our partner. So we put the logo of the partner and say what they do. An event, we did an event about financial market. So we put the logo of the investors. Here's an email with news and opportunities of volunteering and newsletter of free helper. We always put our logo of our partners. Our website, we put the logo of our partners. So of course it depends, like you may have NGO that you don't want it to be vinculated with a lot of private companies all the time. In our case, it's not bad because since we are a remote professional work, it's good for us to have a lot of partners, private companies in all different sectors. But it's just an example. You can learn like the essence of how to do it and how to interact with them and apply it to your own reality. Okay, and here's just the monthly report, the content I told you that we provided, like this is the every month. So we talk about the great numbers, how many interactions, how many new likes, new followers, new works, new partnerships, what's the news. So in this month I have been on Global Change Makers. So I talked about my experience and how these investors helped me and helped Free Helper to get there. And and another numbers like what were our impact, our reach, number of words and everything. So basically this is our presentation. Let me stop sharing the screen now. Okay, so basically that was the example of Free Helper, how we raise money. And we have been doing this for over 2 years. Most, of course, we have changed the investor over the period. Today we have about 12 recurring investors for over 1 year. So it's really, all of them are private companies that we provide different kind of benefits. So we have the plans. So we have the sponsorship plans that goes from about 300 reais up to 4,000 or 5,000 reais. So each plan has its own benefits, so its own certificates, its own social media contents. Some of them we do like events especially specifically for the private company, for our partner. Some of them we don't do this particular event. Some of them we go into the company and we talk with the employees. We try to motivate the employees to help, to try to create this great environment on the company, that the company really cares about the others, cares about make positive impact. So we always try to give a good return to the company, even though the company is actually donating by a legal point of view, because we are an NGO. So it's a donation. We don't want to talk like it is a donation. We want to talk about like it's a marketing investment. So it's a marketing investment with great social return, but it's not only social return. You will get the marketing return as well, because we tried just the social return for a while, and it's very hard to keep the investor for a long period of time. You can go there, you can talk to the investor, you can make your point saying that how much impact you will make, and you can convince them to give money. But in the first like recession period, or like a bad month, or anything happens with the company, the first thing they're going to cut is your money, because they see like an extra, not a necessity, and pays the employee and pay the marketing agents and pay the legal employee and everyone. It's a necessity. So what we do, and it has worked pretty well, is try to say that, okay, we are marketing, we provide marketing services, we provide brand services with social impact. So we say that it's a two-way road. If you just want the marketing content, of course, us, Free Helper, it's not the best option for you to give money. Of course, if you put the same amount of money you put on us in a marketing agency, probably it will increase your sales more than putting on us. But we do have these two benefits, both the social and the brand and the marketing. And it's pretty competitive, because if you go to the private world, they just offer the marketing services or the brand service. If you go to the third sector, they just offer the social impact. But someone that offers both, that really cares about create positive impact, that creates change, create opportunities, but who is also caring about increasing the revenue, increasing the brand awareness, increase the number of followers of the company. It's very unique. I'm talking about Brazil. I really don't know about like the other countries, but I truly believe that it's not something very common. And if you follow this path, if you try to think not only about, okay, of course the social impact is the priority here. You don't make money, we are trying to help, but how could I how could I interact with my investor, with the other people, to make them wanna be part of this. Not in just asking them for everything, asking for money, asking for a a a lot of things we are the NGOs are always asking people. But what if I start to give some things in return? So it depends. Like for example, the environmental NGOs that I gave the example of providing a green company certification. It's just a simple example, but you can also have, for example, NGO that you go into the companies that invest on us and do a work with the employees and do a survey how to improve the corporate environment. So this would be a good example. It's a problem of the private companies. So I think the tip here is try to find a solution for a problem the private companies have. And the problem could be the world are not seeing me as sustainable, as a good company that's helping the world. So I wanted to change this image. I wanted to improve my brand image. So that could be an opportunity. Or for example, my employees are not living in a good environment. We don't have a corporate environment working well. So we want to create this. We want to improve that. So that's another example. Or for example, third example, we wanted to connect with other people and maybe get new clients in new sectors. So I need someone with a networking in different sectors, even the third sector, because the third sector actually hires people, hires services. So if it's a company that looks into the third sector, let's say a legal firm that focus on third sectors, of course they are not, they probably, a small NGO wouldn't hire them, but a big foundation would. And maybe the small NGOs is the path to get in the large foundation that will hire the services of them. So you try to think, I think the tip here is try to think with the private company mindset and try to provide them a idea of how he or she could help, but also get some benefit of it. I know it's hard to think about it. If you want to send some comments or asking about your particular NGO or particular project, how do I think would be a good idea to raise money? But the thing is, I advise you to focus on recurring revenue. It's very hard to create impact if you don't have a recurring revenue, because, okay, this month you get $10,000, but what will you do with $10,000? Okay, we'll develop a software to increasing 10 times the amount of volunteer activity you do, whatever sector or cause you are working for. Okay, but 6 months from now, you would have to maintain this platform. You will have to maintain the employees you hired, and you don't have any more than $10,000. So what would you do? So I think it's best to have $1,000 in a recurring revenue than this large amount of money just on a spot, because you can predict it and you can know how to use it in the best way. So I would focus on recurring revenue. That's the big tip here. And trying to think about your own problem, your own cause, your own country, your own reality. Of course, the private companies are very different in each country. To get in the CEOs, to get on the CFOs of the companies, sometimes it's hard, but you have to find your way into that. You have to maybe do cold calls, cold emails, just send messages. Maybe you could go through referrals, so you talk to people that can refer you. You can go like into friends, companies, families, companies, so universities, foundations, global change makers, networking. So you can go by a lot of different paths to find your way. And again, I think it's your impact. Of course, you have money. It's not guaranteed that you have a great impact. It depends on you, on your job, on your dedication and everything. But I think if you want to create great impact, it's very, very, very hard to do it without money. So I know that most of the times we are not focused on that. We are focused on creating positive change. And as I said, it seems unfair that, okay, I'm giving my time and giving my knowledge, I'm giving everything I had to create positive change. And I also have to like convince the people that the private company that are making a lot of money to give some of that for me, who is not making money, to help others. But that, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. It may change sometime, but I think it won't change soon. So that's it. That's my tip. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something about it. I hope you had good ideas while I was talking about how to do it, to implement it to your project, to your NGO, to your company. Or even if you are from a private company, that's the tip. You help others, focus on really good NGOs and good projects that we have a lot all over the world. That's it. Thank you. If you have any tips, any comments, questions, or anything, just send a message on the comments and I will reply as soon as possible. Thank you very much. And I hope you have all a great day.